Welcome to another edition of the D&D Morning Show.
We're here at Redondo Beach in this beautiful morning, so we're excited to share with you another D&D show.
That's right. What do we got going on today?
Today we are talking about self-care and how it's an essential part of our day or our routine as opposed to an indulgence. I think a lot of times we feel guilty or we feel bad about doing things for ourselves, but it's really an essential action.
That's right. So we have a fun fact to begin
We're
with?
going to talk about a fun fact about my own self-care, and then we'll get into our main topic. We have a recipe, a bath salts recipe for you, and then we'll end with the quote as usual.
That's right.
I feel a little funny because we're standing again today. Usually we're like sitting down, the counter's in front of us.
I know, I feel a little funny, that sun coming right in my face.
Right there. It's beautiful. Soak it up.
That's right. Fun fact.
Fun fact. You're going to talk about the fun fact about when you have to tell me to go to the gym.
Well, we think that working out is part of self-care. Sometimes Dorothy is a little bit stressed out and sometimes she is flustered. Or maybe she needs a little boost to her day. So I'm like, Dorothy, you need to go work out.
And then I go work out and I come home and I'm all like, all happy again. But it's funny because you get obsessed with your list, your to-do list, and you feel like you have to get everything on your to-do list done before you take care of yourself. And that's what happens to me sometimes. It's like, I can't take time to go work out is because I have all of these things to do. But you don't realize that when you go and work out and come back, you're happier, which makes you more productive and get things done even faster.
That's right. We need to take that time for ourselves, and it's important to realize that we're so much better off as individuals when we take time to eat properly or work out on a regular basis. So that's a little fun fact. Sometimes when Dorothy's all flustered, I'm like, you just need to go work out. And she goes,
it sounds a little bit like this.
and she's like, I don't want to work out.
I have all of these things to do. I can't go spend a half hour working out right now because I have all these things to do. But it's so true that if you just take the time and do it, then you're so much better off.
That's right. All right, so we're jumping into the main topic.
We kind of touched on the main topic there, but we wanted to talk about self-care and how it's essential, and it's not an indulgence, right? We talked in the intro about how a lot of times you feel guilty or you feel bad for taking time out of your day for yourself. But when you take time for yourself, you have so much more to give and you're so much more productive. So that's why it's essential to take care of yourself first before you do anything else.
Yeah, that goes back to when we talk about putting yourself first. And I think a lot of times people feel like that's selfish, or they say, or that word selfish is such a negative word in our environment, and it doesn't have to be. Like, we can be selfish and we should be selfish in certain situations. And when you're talking about self-care, it's so important to take care of yourself. That's what self-care is. So when we pay attention to the foods we're putting in our body, when we take time to meal prep, when we go to the grocery store, that's part of self-preparation to make yourself a better you. And then when you have more, when you have a better you, then you have a better you to give and share with your friends, family, and everyone around you.
And, we talked about exercise being a part of self-care. Exercise is so great to clear the mind and get your energy, boost your energy. And, a lot of times we might feel a little tired or a little stressed and we don't want to go work out, but it's actually going to be so much more beneficial if we just go find the motivation, go do it.
Yeah, no question. I feel like I always get my best ideas right after a workout.
Inspiration.
So inspiration is something that you could benefit from, but also in mental clarity. And for us, when we talk about entrepreneurs or business owners, you're always working, you're always going and going, but regardless if you're an employee or whatever you're doing, you have more mental clarity, you have more motivation, inspiration to get your job done. And then even in the evenings, we find that often as well. If you're active, if you're eating better, you have more energy later in the evenings to spend time with kids, to prepare meals, or to maybe even if you have to work later in the evenings as well.
So we talked about exercise and we talked about healthy eating, but another component of self-care is, taking control of your stress levels. And a good way to do that is taking, 5 minutes out of your day to have some deep breathing exercises or some meditation, read a book, or do something where you're completely alone by yourself and that can help bring those stress levels down.
Yeah, and it doesn't take much.
No.
If you set a proper routine, maybe it's you start in the morning with meditation or breathing exercises, and maybe it's visualization to start your day. That's a good way to begin your day, and we always talk about bookending days as well. So in the evening, you do something similar. Maybe it's a detoxing bath.
That was one of my next tips, was to take a bath.
Yeah, so maybe it's a detoxing bath, maybe it's a nice relaxing book, or maybe it's some soft music. There's a lot of different things that we can do.
Journaling is one thing that I like to do in the evenings before bed. It relaxes the mind and takes the clutter out of your mind so that you can prepare yourself for a nice restful sleep.
That's right. What's next?
You was looking at me funny there.
That's all I had to say about that.
Forrest Gump over here. Well, do you want to move on to the recipe?
I would like to.
Okay. I had a nice bath salts recipe for you, not a food recipe today, but we talked about how a bath is a nice part of self-care where we can relax and de-stress, and I have a homemade bath salts recipe. Super easy. You take fine grinded Himalayan salts or Epsom salts, and you fill it up into a mason jar. Well, you leave about enough room for a half a cup of baking soda on the top. That's what I do. So you mix together the Himalayan salts in the baking soda. Then you can add essential oils that you like. For example, if you want a relaxing scent, you could add some lavender in there, a couple drops of lavender, mix it all up. Make sure that the baking soda and the Himalayan salts really get mixed together there. And that's the same with the essential oil. So lavender will give you a nice soothing, calming bath. You could use peppermint as well. Peppermint's more awakening and refreshing feeling. And those are our two favorites for bath time, is lavender and peppermint.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
it. That's the recipe. You have Himalayan salts, but you want the fine grind salts. And then the baking soda, I usually add about a half a cup. I put mine in a mason jar about this size. That's how I measure. About this size. And then a couple of drops, 3 to 5 drops of your favorite essential oil in there. Make sure it's nice and mixed up. And then you can just put a couple tablespoons of that mixture into your tub. Don't put the whole jar into your tub. But you'll have that mixture of salts for quite a few baths. So just put a couple tablespoons in your bath.
all right. Let's send off with a quote.
Let's end off with the quote. All right, the quote that we have for you guys today is about deep breaths. And it says, deep breaths are like love notes to our body.
Very nice. I think it's so important to take deep breaths throughout the day. Sometimes we talked earlier about being stressed out or stress relieving. We can start our day with deep breaths. We can end our day with deep breaths. And then throughout the day, when we're stressed out, when we're feeling overwhelmed, maybe have a little bit of anxiety creeping in, you take deep breaths throughout the day and your life will be so much easier.
And you know what's funny is we always tell kids, you know, when they get themselves all amped up about something, we say, okay, relax, take some deep breaths here. And we know how beneficial that is for them as little ones, but sometimes we never think ourselves to take those deep breaths because it really makes, a couple deep breaths makes a huge difference.
Yeah, no question. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in to another edition of the D&D Morning Show.
Thanks for being here, and we'll catch you on the next show.
See you guys.
Bye.